I was baptized into the ICC on June 6, 1996, on a Sunday morning in the Atlanta Galleria Mall and Convention Center, no less, which is where the ICC often met. Now, if you didn't catch it, that's the 6th day of the 6th month of 1996. So when everyone was making this big to-do recently about June 6, 2006 being a 6606 day, I was remembering the 10th anniversary of my baptism into that church and the beginning of 2.5 years of absolute insanity. The ICC had a special emphasis on forcing its members to try to find and convert others. The coercion held against me came from these verses. From Ezekiel, God actually tells Ezekiel, "When I say to a wicked man, you will surely die, and you do not warn him, or speak out to dissuade him from his evil ways in order to save his life, that wicked man will die for his sin, and I will hold you accountable for his blood. But if you do warn the wicked man and he does not turn from his ways, whatever, he'll die, but you will have saved yourself." And then Jesus once apparently tells people in Mark chapter 8, "If anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of him when he comes to his Father's glory with the holy angels." So, if I didn't try to tell everyone I met about Jesus and warn them, they'd all go to hell, and it would be my fault that they do, and it would be on my head. No pressure or anything. So daily, wherever I went, I felt absolutely terrified of being held accountable for the damnation of others if I didn't try to reach out to them, or the idea of actually reaching out to them. It scared the shit out of me. This is the world of being one of the ICC people.
It's difficult for anybody to just walk up to strangers and start conversations. Okay, don't get me wrong, but I'd always been absolutely horrified by people. Irrationally so. I could never explain why. I knew it had nothing to do with shame of Christ. I couldn't convince them of that. It's just an unexplainable fear. And now I was terrified that my unexplainable fear, that I couldn't even talk about, that I'd be held responsible for the souls of people that I couldn't reach out to. It eventually led to one terrible nervous breakdown. The loss of the best job I've ever had, and several jobs after that. It's like I never quite got better because of it. It wasn't for another few years that I learned what social anxiety disorder actually is, and that I was one of its many afflicted. So I couldn't start the conversations with people. I could help out somehow, right? Not have to be fully independent and completely all together yourself, because we all do it as a team, right? Apparently no. That wasn't good enough. You have to be the full package, they kept saying in sermons. And let's just say I wasn't God's best salesman.
In my life, I was never a part of the in-group. In the church, same thing. So much for this kingdom being different from the world. We always talked about the world and said we'd be different from the world. Whatever. I ended up just, a bit of the unpopular, an ignored member, one of the many rejects in this new kingdom of God. I was all scared and unguided and uncared for, left to rot in the bowels of the church with this new, terrifying religion. Usually, the poor people, the weak and timid people, those are the ones who need support, but they weren't getting any.
I started leading several of the others that were a lot like me, and we worked as a team. We lived together in homes that weren't rich, wealthy, neat, clean. We were hospitable to many, and it made us look kind of messy. The house was very messy. But one leader came over one time and insisted that with dirty carpet and cabinets and whatever, and an unkempt home means sin. And he led us in prayer and wailed to God. I mean, he cried tears, and he screamed mercy and everything like that for us, that we would somehow get the sin out with Clorox, I guess. I don't know. It was the stupidest thing I've ever experienced in my life. When brothers were in need of a place to stay, they couldn't, count on any of the leaders or any of those people in those rich homes who didn't want their precious little stuff messed with. But they could count on us, and they could be themselves around us. And they did. We would sometimes be 6 or 7 brothers in a 2-bedroom apartment that was actually rather small. So that's kind of why it was messy. If that's the case and we were living out what was needed, who the hell was in sin?
Paul wrote about this entire concept of unity of the church and everything like that in the metaphor of all of them being parts of a body, which could get really kinky really quick, but we won't go there. He says, well, the eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you, and the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker and are indispensable, and the parts that we think are less honorable, we treat with special honor. And the parts that are unpresentable are treated with special modesty, while our presentable parts need no special treatment. But God has combined the members of the body and has given greater honor to the parts that lacked it, so that there should be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it, and if one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. Now, that's not what I saw practiced. There was a rap band named Arrested Development in the 1990s, whose lead singer went by the name of Speech. And he was eventually converted and to our numbers baptized and made one of us. I went to church with this guy. I taught his son in Sunday school. He never once spoke to me. I didn't really want to speak to him either. But apparently everybody else did. When nobodies were baptized, they were instantly forgotten. And they often fell away because of the lack of support in this scary new religion. But not him. He was swarmed, supported, loved. He was popular instantly. A Grammy Award winner. Yay! The truth of the matter is, he's already pretty well-to-do in the world. He hardly needs all this support. So remember that when someone tells you this is a Christian nation, because if it were, we'd be taking care of our homeless and helping them rise to the top. We'd stop swooning over Paris Hiltons and Bill Gateses and rich people and pretty people. I don't see that happening. This nation is about as Christian as my ass is an elbow.